Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Oncobuddy Podcast by 4Base Care. I'm your host, Jaitri, a care companion from 4Base Care, and this is our second episode of the Oncobuddy Podcast. Today, we'll be talking about Psycho-oncology. The topic of discussion for today's Oncobuddy Podcast is Mind Matters, Exploring Psycho-oncology. For the warriors out there and the ones receiving cancer treatment and refusing to give up. Let's face it, a cancer diagnosis can feel like a sucker punch. You're left wondering, how am I supposed to deal with this? Just imagine all the emotions swirling around in your head. Denial, fear, maybe some anger, a whole lot of what ifs. Totally normal. But what if I told you there's a way to take control of that mental blender and turn it into a smoothie of strength and positivity? That's where psycho-oncology comes in. It's like having a personal trainer for your mind, someone who can teach you the mental tricks to navigate the emotional roller coaster of cancer. Today, we are going to discuss a crucial aspect of cancer care, psycho-oncology counseling. And today, we are pleased to have Jaitri Mandal, a senior psycho-oncologist from 4Base Care, joining our podcast. She is one of the leading experts in the field of psycho-oncology in India. Associated with 4Base Care since 2022, Jaitri has provided more than 1,000 plus psycho-oncological consultation for the patients at 4Base Care till date. Welcome, Jaitri.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So let's begin by unpacking the term psycho-oncology. What exactly does it talk about?
In very simple terms, we can say that psycho-oncology is a super specialty of the professional field of psychology that combines both psychology and oncology to offer mental health assistance to cancer patients and their families during their treatment and their survivorship days as well. It also focuses on various aspects of cancer, including physical, psychological, social, behavioral, and spiritual aspects for both cancer patients and their families.
That's interesting. Now, many listeners might be familiar with the term psychology. How does psycho-oncology differ from the word psychology?
Absolutely. While general psychology addresses a wide range of mental health concerns, psycho-oncology specifically caters to the unique challenges faced by cancer patients and the caregivers.
So, is psycho-oncology specially for cancer care?
Absolutely. Psycho-oncology explores how patients react emotionally to cancer, how they cope with it behaviorally, and how they can make changes to improve their health. For example, helping patients to process the initial shock, the fear, and grief of a cancer diagnosis. Also, you'll be surprised to know that ASCO, the American Society of Clinical Oncology, recognizes distress as the sixth vital sign in cancer. So it's absolutely clear now that the emotional well-being is just as crucial as physical health for cancer patients.
So what you're saying is emotional distress also needs to be tackled carefully during cancer treatment.
Yes, definitely. This is where psycho-oncology steps in. It equips patients with the strategies to navigate the emotional part of diagnosis, managing treatment side effects, anxiety, depression, and the emotional impact of relationships and self-image during cancer treatment.
That makes sense. Now, how can psycho-oncology benefit cancer patients in their day-to-day life?
The benefits are truly wide-ranging. First of all, psycho-oncology helps cancer patients with coping mechanisms to navigate the emotional aspects of a diagnosis and treatment. Along with that, during counseling sessions, psycho-oncologists discuss multiple social and psychological stigma that sadly still exists in our society. For example, many cancer patients avoid socializing because they're afraid of being pitied or misunderstood by others. Also, changes in their appearance from cancer treatment can make them feel less valuable to a certain extent. Addressing these social and psychological concerns are essential to minimize their detrimental effects on the mental health of the cancer patients.
So, can you discuss a few coping mechanisms during the treatment?
Sure. There are multiple coping mechanisms that can be adopted during cancer treatment. For example, first of all, try to maintain a healthy routine to provide a sense of normalcy and control. For example, start your day with 10 mindful or conscious breathing. Go for a brisk walk for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Maintain a very good sleep-wake cycle. Try to wear cotton, loose, comfy clothes. You can surely feel that change anytime. Stick to your schedule. If you are at a working professional or a student undergoing treatment and currently at home, stay connected with your work, your colleagues, or study materials. Allow yourself to express your emotions and concerns openly with your loved ones. Engage in activities that bring you joy and provide a mental break from cancer related stresses, such as hobbies, movies, try to read books, play indoor games with your family.
It's incredibly practical.
Definitely. And last but not the least, always focus on the positive aspects of your life and celebrate small victories along your journey.
Having a positive outlook of life is very much needed to boost the patient's morale, because I have seen that patients are very sad and probably in emotional trauma, disrupting their family relationships as well.
You are absolutely right. Patients may experience a range of emotional concerns, including irritable mood and upset or sadness as well, anger issues, sleep disturbances during cancer treatment. And let me tell the audience that mindfulness techniques can be really helpful here.
Mindfulness. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. In very brief, mindfulness is the practice of paying attention or being absolutely conscious to the present moment without any judgment. For example, being aware about your daily breathing pattern, you can try to repeat the positive affirmations whenever you feel low or hopeless. You can simply sit quietly and observe your thoughts as they come and go without any judgment or any attachment.
That's a great resource. I mean, mindfulness really sounds like a powerful tool for managing the challenges of cancer treatment.
When cancer patients use these powerful techniques, they can see changes in their life. Also, let's not forget about body image issue. Cancer treatments can bring about physical changes, so we can help patients develop strategies for better acceptance and feeling good about themselves.
So now, for example, hair loss is one of the common side effects after chemotherapy, right?
Yes.
It's not easy for everyone. What will be your recommendations for patients to deal with hair loss?
Hair loss can be emotionally difficult for anyone, regardless of gender or lifestyle. It's very important to remember that hair loss is temporary. Most patients experience hair regrowth within 3 to 6 months after completing their treatment. There are also multiple steps you can take to manage hair loss during your treatment. Check out our Oncobuddy app developed by Forbase Care, which has a great blog with information and tips on coping with hair loss. You can download the Oncobuddy app for free on Google Play Store and search for relevant articles within the app to learn more about managing hair loss during chemotherapy.
Those are all very fantastic tips, Jaitri. Thank you for sharing this. And it really sounds like psycho-oncology can be a real game changer with the Oncobuddy app for the patients that is going through cancer treatment, and not just physically but emotionally as well.
You are correct. We can address a wide range of issues that can affect a patient's quality of life during treatment. For instance, change in relationships and physical intimacy can be a big concern for some patients.
That's a very important point, and we have to face it from juggling work, family, and everything else. On top of that, treatment can also feel very overwhelming at times.
That's exactly why psycho-oncology exists. We can help patients develop coping mechanisms to manage the stress of cancer treatment and create a more balanced daily routine.
These techniques are going to be helpful for the audiences. Then, what about the physical side effects?
We can explore ways to manage pain and fatigue, for example, cancer-related fatigue, which are very common side effects of treatment. This can involve multiple relaxation techniques.
It's really amazing how psycho-oncology can address such a wide range of issues.
It truly does. We can also create a safe space to discuss the uncertainty that comes with cancer, including the fear of recurrence or even end of life care as well.
That can be a very heavy burden to carry.
Yes, it is. Learning about your condition can take away some of the mystery and fear. I can always say that the more you know, the less anxious you're going to feel.
That's Pretty fantastic, Jaitri. Like, I didn't know that there were so many benefits that a patient can receive through psycho-oncology counseling. But psycho-oncology isn't just about the patient, is it?
No, definitely not. Like I previously said, we also provide support for families and caregivers. Cancer affects everyone in patient circle. Caregivers may feel guilty and sometimes overwhelmed by sheer volume of responsibilities and emotions while taking care of the patients. We can also help families navigate difficult conversations, cope with their own anxieties, and provide the best possible support for their loved ones.
That's very crucial. I mean, strong family support is very essential during the cancer treatment. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. How can we integrate psycho-oncology more effectively into the mainstream cancer care?
In India, psycho-oncology, though existing for over a decade, remains relatively unknown due to mental taboos. Around 30% to 50% cancer patients experience distress, including anxiety and depression. It's vital for patients and families to understand that seeking help doesn't imply mental instability but aims at coping better with cancer. Raising awareness about psycho-oncology counseling is absolutely crucial. Open communication among oncologists, nurses, and patients is needed to identify those who could benefit from psycho-oncology counseling services.
What you said is very true, and that's a very powerful message. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you for having me today, Gayatri. In the upcoming episodes, we will explore various aspects of psychological care for cancer patients and caregivers, including improving coping mechanisms, communication strategies, and well being during and after cancer treatment. I will also share multiple practical tips, personal stories, and empowering insights to help us navigate this journey together.
I'm pretty sure our listeners would love to know more about stress management techniques in detail, which we can do it in our next session.
Definitely. I will discuss multiple techniques to manage cancer stress because patients always need to sustain a positive outlook of life and find inner peace that helps them to heal faster. Remember, knowledge is power here. By understanding how psycho-oncology can help, you are taking control of your cancer experience.
Amazing, Jaitri. Thank you for sharing your expertise and for reminding our listeners that they are not alone during this cancer treatment. This has been an incredibly informative conversation, and I really can't wait to dwell deeper into these topics in our upcoming episodes.
You are welcome. I'm glad this conversation could be informative. I appreciate the opportunity to share my knowledge and look forward to future discussions on these important topics.
As we are at the end of the second episode of our Oncobuddy podcast, remember that the Psycho-Oncology department and Jaitri from 4-Base Care is here to help you develop that power swing, both mentally and emotionally. There will be tough days for sure, but with the Psycho-Oncology counseling sessions and regular follow-ups, you'll be better equipped to handle them. That was insightful. To wrap up today's Oncobuddy podcast, can you share a key takeaway for someone just starting their cancer treatment?
I want the audience to remember these take home messages carefully as they might change you with hope and positivity. Always remember that you are stronger than you know. You have a very strong support system behind you. So please don't hesitate to seek guidance either from your family members and well wishers wherever it's required. Try to follow a very strong sleep-wake cycle and sleep at least 7 hours at night. Focus on what all you can control. For example, your attitude, your healthy habits like walking at least for 20 minutes per day or practicing simple yoga, and how you are approaching your cancer treatment. Keep patience, mental strength, and continue your daily roles and responsibilities. Always remember, it's very important to maintain good mental health and quality of life during your cancer treatment, and your courage is all that matters to fight against cancer.
Jaitri, I must say that's a very powerful message of hope and empowerment. For the listeners who want to learn more about the psycho-oncology or, connect with cancer support resources, what resources would you recommend?
I would suggest to all our listeners to head over to our free to download app Oncobuddy, available on the Google Play Store, to learn more or to connect with other cancer patients. In the Oncobuddy application, you can share your cancer story and book psychological counseling sessions with me. Inside the Oncobuddy application, you can get answers to all your questions and concerns from our clinical experts at OncoHub. You can also use OncoPHR, which is your personal health record manager, allowing you to manage, update, and share your medical records digitally with ease. Patients can also opt for virtual consultations with treating oncologists, dietitians, and psychologists via OncoConsult. Do download our free app Oncobuddy to explore more.
Thank you, Jaitri, for sharing your expertise with us in today's Oncobuddy podcast, Mind Matters, Exploring Psycho-Oncology.
Thank you for having me, Gayatri. It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Oncobuddy podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more informative episodes on health and wellness. Thanks to all our listeners for joining us today on this second episode of the Oncobuddy podcast. Do subscribe to our Oncobuddy podcast to get answers to all your questions and concerns during and post your cancer treatment from clinical experts. We'll be back very soon with another brand new episode focusing on practical suggestions and support for navigating overall well-being during cancer treatment.
Remember, you have a very powerful community behind you. Together, we can overcome this challenge. Stay connected with our Oncobuddy podcast for ongoing updates and support.
Until next time, take care and stay healthy. Together, we beat cancer.